welcome to Inside Edition, where we discuss national, regional, and international issues in depth. Since its establishment in 1979 and until today, Bahrain Olympic Committee is encompassing all national sports federations and associations in the kingdom, following and fulfilling all the requirements of the IOC Olympic Charter. As a member of the International Olympic Committee, the Olympic Council of Asia, the Arab Sports Games Federation, the Union of Arab National Olympic Committees, and the Islamic Solidarity Sports Federation Bahrain Olympic Committee continues to exert tremendous efforts to maintain and promote the fundamental values, activities, principles, and standards of Olympism in the Kingdom of Bahrain. In addition to it providing support to developing Olympic training, educational, and cultural programs in cooperation with various local and international sports institutions. To talk more about that, we are pleased to welcome here at the studio the Secretary General of Bahrain Olympic Committee, Mr. Faris Mustafa Al-Kuhiji, right after this.
Happy to be here. It's a tremendous occasion, excellent occasion. Today we see all the families participate in this extraordinary event. The Olympic Day is an important event in the Olympic calendar. It's where many countries around the world come and celebrate the Olympics. And as we see today, many families came today to participate in this event. We see many sports and activities, whether be it basketball or combat sports or any other types of sports. It's a great occasion for the family to participate in, and His Highness Sheikh Khalid's patronage of the event gives everyone confidence and support, and we're very happy to be here. And we see many families participate in something that we're really proud of.
The importance of the Olympic Sports Days is something very important and useful. It doesn't just bring everyone together, it also finds new talent, and this will automatically be part of the sports development in Bahrain. As you can see today, with the leadership of Bahrain, from His Majesty the King to His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince Prime Minister, and the vision of His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa and Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, sports is evolving to the next level. Today, Bahrain has been winning internationally in various events, and they have been as well having the rights to host one of the biggest sporting events in Bahrain, such as ISF 2024. Finding talent in the grassroots, and as you could, is one of the most vital part of sports. And as you could see today, in the big attendance, we're finding young talents in Bahrain, which will hopefully be future champions, inshallah.
We believe it's very important to promote the Olympic Day. Plus, it's very important to encourage the people, especially the young people, where we can see a lot of young people here are gathering, and we promote some of the games, and we hope to see more federations gathering and promoting their games in the Olympic Games.
I'm very happy to be here at the invitation of the Bahrain Olympic Committee and His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid, together with my good friend Faris. And this, I believe, is a very good initiative where the Bahrain Olympic Committee is celebrating the Olympic Day, where we from the Olympic family spend time sort of to expound the values of the Olympics, and in terms of being able to showcase what sport has to offer, unifying people, the principles of friendship, excellence, and respect. And I believe that through this kind of initiative, sports in Bahrain will always grow, because by targeting the young people and involving the young athletes, and what we're seeing here today at these different locations is the way to go. So we are very pleased to be here and look forward to seeing how we at the Uganda Olympic Committee and the Bahrain Olympic Committee can work together. And we congratulate the Bahrain Olympic Committee for organizing this very fantastic Olympic Day today.
The Olympic Day has been developed since it started. More sports every year has been introduced. And it's a chance for all the family to come with their children to see where their children fits. They can try all the sports here and see what they like. Because you know, everyone has certain talent. They don't know, sometimes they don't know what it is. When they come here, they can try, they see what they love, and they can take part in it.
Today we came to the Olympic Day. Olympic Committee shows the importance of sports for Bahraini people and the Kingdom of Bahrain.
Welcome back. Joining me here in the studio is the Secretary General of the Bahrain Olympics Committee, Mr. Faris Al-Kuhiji. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Pleasure's mine.
Mr. Al-Kuhiji, first of, the BOC, or the Bahrain Olympic Committee, goes far as back as the 1970s. There's a lot of history there and a lot of information there. Can you give us a little bit about an idea about the establishment of the committee, the structure, and the stages it was developed in?
Sure. It was firstly recognized in the year 1979, and it started only with 9 different Olympic sports, such as swimming, athletics, badminton, weightlifting. The first president was Sheikh Isa bin Rashid Al Khalifa, and today we have 42 federations. So you can see there was a tremendous growth since 1979, with 21 being Olympic sports.
The Bahrain Olympic Committee also performs its roles to achieve a number of strategic objectives through these many services that it has and through these many sports that it caters for. What can you tell us about the strategic objectives that have been set for itself?
I mean, of course, every entity or NOC should have short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. Let's just say short-term goals is what we achieve in Paris 2024. But of course, we're more than just achieving medals for Bahrain, even though it is definitely a top priority. You know, we are also here to promote sports and awareness within the community, to promote a healthy lifestyle, to host world-class events or within the country. We recently actually hosted even a beautiful seminar. It's called the Gender Equity Seminar for the continent of Asia. It was the first of its kind. We had 42 countries actually come to the seminar. So it was a huge, huge turnout. His Royal Highness Faisal bin Hussein was also there as one of the speakers. It was highly endorsed by the President Thomas Bach of the IOC. So you know, we're quite happy with where we're going with the BOC.
Amazing. These objectives, I mean, listening to you talk about them, a lot of them sound to me like they are spread out over not just giving awareness, but giving awareness to people about the sports sector, giving awareness about the different sports available, and how to achieve the optimum phase to be in these kind of sports or be an athlete. Do you find yourself, or does the BOC provide that kind of information and awareness?
I mean, we just hosted the Olympic Day, and that was actually one of the purposes, is to create awareness within the community. And I mean, of course, we expected a big turnout, but definitely not the turnout we received. We had many parents bringing their kids, telling us that they want their kids to become Olympic athletes. So we said, you know what, it's not enough to host this once a year. We said we need to host this event probably 4 times a year. We might not call it Olympic Day, but we have to constantly engage the community. And the idea we had about doing it we actually had it in 4 locations, but the center location was in the avenues. And the idea is the sport will come to you. If we did it somewhere remote where nobody's there, you're only going to come there if you're invited to go there. But we wanted a random bystander or something to actively engage in sports. So that was the idea of actually having it in the avenues.
Absolutely, makes sense. Having achieved these kind of things, one of the main pillars that really help with achieving a lot in different sectors in the Kingdom of Bahrain is the constant royal and government support that is given. Now, the sports sector specifically enjoys a lot of support from in the Kingdom of Bahrain and royal and government support. How do you value this kind of support, and which basically led to the current successes that you have, and what are the plans to maintain it?
To maintain it, I mean, first of all, His Highness Sheikh Nasser, you know, he has an unbelievably busy schedule, a very busy work schedule, but he is still an elite athlete. Like, So, you know, like to have such leaders with us, honestly, we are very, very lucky. I mean, he brought Ironman to Bahrain. It didn't start out as a huge event, but look at it today. I think I heard the other day that the first even Iron Kids only had 50 participants, but a few days ago we apparently had more than 500 kids.
Yes.
So, you know, we are very, very lucky. In fact, we had the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee visit us on Olympic Day, and he himself said, wow, you're very lucky that your stakeholders are actually engaged in sports, because there are countries where the people that are of influence don't have any idea or knowledge about sports. So the fact that, you know, we have this, he said himself that we are very, very lucky. I mean, as well, Sheikh Khalid, under his time, did we have all our combat sports. Before he entered the space, we didn't have a boxing federation, we didn't have judo, we didn't have taekwondo. It's only during his tenure did we have all of these different fighting disciplines within the NOC.
Right.
So, you know, honestly, we are very lucky.
Yes. For them to be role models, not just for the committees themselves, but for the athletes in the committees, because they want to strive to make more in order to basically make them proud of them.
Listen, the term dual careers is a very common term that globally they try to achieve, right? Because sometimes an athlete just focuses on sports so much and he forgets about that what comes after his sporting career. So they're actually even showing the community that dual career can exist. I mean, you can have a very active and busy job and also be an elite athlete.
Absolutely.
Right? So, I mean, that's a very important point to make.
Absolutely. Since its establishment in 1981, the Bahrain Olympic Academy has actually been an essential academic center for Olympic studies, education, and research. Not a lot is heard about it because their activities have also always been ongoing. But what can you tell us about the importance and the outcomes of this vital
this
entity?
academy? So, you know, it's actually quite funny you say this now, because the level 4 graduates, so there's 4 levels and it takes you 7 years to fully graduate from. We will hold a very, let's say, very nice graduation ceremony. First of all, it's because they deserve it. And the second of all, it's also to create awareness of the Bahrain Olympic Academy. And we're looking to actually create a standalone building to have the Bahrain Olympic Academy office, because they play a very vital role in for the federations, because they're the ones who educate the federations about ethics, proper governance, leadership, strategic planning, right? I mean, we can set the strategic objectives at the top, but the federations need to implement it. So you might have very intelligent presidents or board members, but we also still need to educate them about sports management. So Bahrain Olympic Academy plays a very important role. And we have quite the guy with us, his name is Dr. Nabil. He's an expert in giving lectures.
Yeah, okay.
You should meet him one day. He's intense.
Okay, that's great. I'll have him on the show.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to the academy, I mean, you mentioned there are 4 levels. Give us a little bit more details about these 4 levels and how a fresh student coming in and applying for the academy would go throughout.
Sure. I mean, as I said, it's a 7-year program.
Okay.
It's backed by Coach Canada and, of course, recognized by the IOC. Level 1 is quite basic. You know, it gives them basic about weight training, ethics, governance. And each level just goes into more depth, with level 4 being, I mean, a very complex project, actually. They each have to deliver a project about how to create an elite training program and henceforth. So 7 years is a long time. I mean, that's like a PhD. So that's why I just said that they deserve a very proper graduation ceremony.
Amazing. And students that graduate from the academy, what are the kind of empowerments that they have now when they go out into the workforce or into the sporting arena?
I mean, definitely they're much more confident and they understand the athletes a lot more and what's going on. Right. Let's say something that you maybe have to have a 20-year experience to learn the entire curve, they can learn it in a much shorter time frame and much more, because they get to see what is happening in the other NOCs in Europe or in Asia, all over Asia or North America. Right. So it's quite critical, this program.
That's great. Well, what are the programs and certificates that are provided by the Bahrain Olympic Academy specifically?
I mean, the certificate is from, as I said, from Coach Canada.
Okay.
It's a highly recognized university
Yes.
in Canada and actually globally. So, I mean, my signature is there. We have the, I believe it's the School of Dean within School of Canada. So it's definitely a highly recognized certification.
Amazing. These kind of cooperations with international entities is really important. What can you tell us about the cooperations? How do you value these international cooperations, the global cooperations you have with other entities, whether in Bahrain, whether regionally or even internationally, in order to boost the confidence of your athletes and the graduates of the program?
The programs. I mean, first of all, it's I recently brought, as I said, we invited the president of the Olympic Committee of the country of Uganda.
Yeah.
He even came and gave a seminar in Bahrain. He's quite the intellectual guy. He's an arbitrator at the Court of Arbitration in the IOC. So we're actually bringing world-class speakers to educate our people, let's just say that. And we're actively engaged with all international federations to constantly stay up to date with the latest rules and vision. Because, you know, your vision and rules gradually change year by year, just slowly. So it's very important that we are up to date with the latest information.
That's amazing. So having that up-to-date information basically empowers the athletes and, as you said, the people that are within or part of the BOC to exercise the sports outside of Bahrain eventually and have the knowledge of the general rule when it comes to
So as I earlier said, the gender equity seminar, this is actually one of the things that the IOC is highly endorsing. So, you know, we are definitely trying to align our strategic objectives with the international community. So now gender equity is a topic definitely that should be discussed within the Bahrain Olympic Academy.
Yes, definitely. Well, one way of spreading awareness that you've already mentioned is the International Olympic Day. And recently, the Kingdom of Bahrain actually joined the global community in celebrating the International Olympic Day with a number of events. What can you tell us about these events?
So first of all, the Olympic Day, it is usually in June, held in June. If I'm not mistaken, it's the 23rd of June. Don't take my word for that.
Okay.
But you can request from the IOC to have it any day you want.
Okay.
And they actually even subsidize it. So we will be partially compensated for what we spent Olympic Day. And the idea is, as we said, is just to create awareness about Olympic sports that exist, you know, whether it was judo, table tennis. And we had a huge turnout. A lot of parents came with their kids. We gave them prizes and this. So that's why we need to host this at least 4 times a year.
Yes.
1 time a year is insufficient.
Yes.
So we'll take the IOC's permission to host it 4 Olympic days. If there's anything to do with the name, because it's supposed to be once a year, we'll just rename it something else. But we will do it.
A quarterly event then.
Quarterly event, by the minimum.
Yes, I mean, it's amazing because not only, you've mentioned already the Spartan, the Ironman Kids Day that happened, and we had so many people going there. His Highness Sheikh Nasser's children themselves,
Exactly.
His Highness Sheikh Khalid's children themselves were also there at the event. And we saw kids from the community, people that are merchants and people that are working within the community and the government who we know because we see them every single day. Everybody was partaking in that, and that awareness also
Of
on
course.
Olympic Day.
And it's a highly organized event. I mean, I had a lot of guests internationally come and participate in the Ironman, and they just kept complimenting how well organized our event was.
Yeah.
And this is partly as well due to our leaders participating in the event themselves, right? They're not just laying the foundation. No, they're actively engaging within the sports that they're endorsing.
Absolutely. Mr. Faris, now when we look at Kids Ironman and we also look at the Bahrain or the International Olympic Day and the involvement of children and the youth in it, how important is it to involve the youth and make them aware of the importance of sports and athleticism?
So it's, I mean, as you probably know, I'm also a gym owner, and one thing that I noticed is the level of, the number of kids, that are coming to the gym or doing sport these days. When I was a kid, I mean, I went to the gym at 13 years old. There weren't that many 13-year-olds in the gym or doing sports. Today, my gym is filled with 13-year-olds. I mean, maybe this is a global change, but definitely in Bahrain, the youth are doing more sports than ever.
Is it important for them to know the knowledge how important it is to do sports?
It's very important to the knowledge, and what's amazing is that they're even learning the correct technique. It's very important to be very well educated to prevent injuries and to reach your full potential. It's only through, I mean, information and improvement in sports and science are we becoming stronger and faster in sports. So the fact that we're learning, I mean, the latest information at such a young age only means we're going to excel even further when they're older.
And I think also, and I want to get your point of view on that, when you have a younger generation in the gyms or performing certain sports, and you always can get the fresh talents or the raw talents early on. Like we have a lot of the gyms in Bahrain, as well as during a KHK Brave, also Sheikh Khalid's events, there are all these raw basically athletes that come out and that are then thriving because
talent,
a lot of work is put into them. So do you think that that's something that happens here in Bahrain, where people, because they have that knowledge early on and their children go to two different sports, whether it's soccer, whether it's gym or anything else, you can find these raw talents?
So, I mean, we actually have quite a program now how to do talent identification. We can touch bases it now, or you want to touch bases later.
Please do.
You know, so I mean, I won't get into too much detail, but we have a program that's called Manufacturing Champions. That is a multi-stage process. For example, stage 1 is identifying the talent, and we compare it to like manufacturing even a product. So you look for raw material. We're looking for talent. So after we identify the talent, we move on to training the talent, supporting the talent, nurturing the talent. So that goes to like a raw material. We're refining the product right now. So, you know, after we support it, then stage 3 is they participate and eventually they become a champion. So we notice that different sports are in different stages. So for swimming, we noticed we didn't have that many talented athletes. So we said, you know what? We need to do a massive campaign. And that's where we launched the Let's Teach 10,000 Kids How to Swim. I mean, one primary goal of this is to, of course, identify talent from the 10,000 kids. But another thing is, apparently less than half of Bahrain know how to swim. So it's a win-win, you know? So we're an island that only half of the country knows how to swim. So we'll find talent and we'll teach the community how to swim. And then going from there also, like say handball. Handball, the talent has already been identified. However, they just need support. So they're not in stage 1. They will be going to stage 2. The talent just needs to be supported.
Or refined, basically.
Or refined, exactly, if we're going to the products,
Well, modern means of social media actually facilitated a lot of direct communication with target audiences. And of course, for the BOC, the target audiences would be the athletes, the younger generation, everybody that comes within these categories, or who is interested even in the Olympic Committee's services. So how did the BOC make use of social media in order to communicate with the target audience?
I mean, honestly, we're quite lucky as well that we have these tools in front of us, because now, let's say we put an Instagram post, right? We can do the analytical analysis. We can see the age group. Are we actually targeting the right age group? We can go by gender. There's so much information Instagram is giving us to make sure we're being successful or not. Today, you know, there's instant news. You immediately see the comments. You know exactly what your neighbor's thinking, or the town next to you. I mean, just 10, 20 years ago on a newspaper, you didn't have the entire community actively engaging at the same moment. So we can openly see any criticism. I mean, are we actually doing the right thing? Or any praises? So it's good we get to actively see how the community feels about a certain event, sporting event, achievement. So it's a good gauge for us.
That's amazing. Social media also opened up the doors for people to communicate with entities such as the BOC in order to ask questions, or as you said, maybe criticize or give comments and everything. Does social media help in basically making that distance shorter to communicate with the audience?
100%, because we see the comment immediately, and some people might before. Let's say you saw something you didn't like in the newspaper.
Okay.
Where are you going to go to send this message that you disapprove or you approve, right? Now you leave a comment or you send a direct message.
Yeah.
Your voice is much easily heard rather than the past.
Absolutely. It makes it easier also for entities to communicate with everybody and like give them a timely answer at that point.
Yeah, you can have a much more targeted approach. Yeah.
Exactly. So after a lot of years and tremendous efforts, what can you tell us about the BOC's main achievements in terms of facts and figures?
We have 2 gold medals and 2 silver medals. We got a gold medal in 2012 London. We got a medal in Rio, and most recently in Tokyo we also got a silver medal. All of our medals were from athletics. However, I'm betting in Paris we're going to definitely receive medals in hopefully I would say weightlifting and other sports, but expect a lot more medals. But just the fact that the number of kids and people actually actively doing sports in Bahrain is an achievement. So I 100%, we might be a small country, but the amount of people doing sports here is unbelievable.
Absolutely. Before I go to my last question, can you tell us a little bit about the Bahrain Olympic Committee's upcoming projects and the events that you have planned out?
I touched base earlier on manufacturing champions.
Yes.
We are ready also, and part of that is to help me, or help the country rather, achieve Olympic medals or championship medals, world medals in 2028 in LA, in 2032. We need to invest on future talent today.
Right.
And exactly, and that's the idea behind manufacturing champions. We're looking to create now a state-of-the-art medical facility. So at the moment we do have like a medical center in case athletes get injured, but honestly I'm not that pleased with the way it's currently being run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out of the BOC, let it be a standalone business. And it's definitely going to be a forefront for us. We're going to have the best physiotherapy, the best massage therapy. It's going to be a real recovery center.
That's amazing. When you look at the sports sector in the Kingdom of Bahrain, it is ever changing. It's always progressing. We see so many things, so many more events and so many more things that are happening in Bahrain that are related to sports. How do you see the future of Bahraini sports in the Kingdom?
As we saw post-COVID, there's been a huge global movement towards health and wellness, especially in Bahrain. The number of people engaged in sports today is honestly very impressive. It's definitely on a double-digit growth. So we definitely seeing we'll be putting, let's say, Olympic sports within schools. I don't think we were doing Olympic sports within the school's curriculum. So that's definitely something we see in the long-term strategy. We will definitely be hosting more seminars, international events, world championships. So expect a lot of movement within sports in the coming years.
Looking forward to that. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Mr. Faris Al-Kuhiji, and for giving us all of this information on the BOC. We hope we interview you next time with more information about all of the new wins that you have.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine. Thank you.
And we'd like to thank you, dear viewers, for watching us, and we'll see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.